afternoon, hockey fans, and welcome to the 2019 Club Championships here at the Robert Morris University Sports Complex in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. With Memory to Video Productions, I'm Chris Blair, and I'm joined today, thrilled to be joined today, in fact, by the gentlemen from Deck Hockey Focus, Eric and Ryan. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Thanks for having us, man. We love it.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a tournament so far. Right now, we're sitting at the break midway through Saturday, so we've got a day and a half of hockey behind us. Before we get to that, though, why don't we spend some time talking about how big this tournament is and what it means to the community?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, we came here all the way from Iowa. We hauled all of our stuff and then had to make the trip. There's just so much talent, so many teams, so many top-ranked teams, especially, you know, that we got to be here.
Yeah. We had to block out our schedules. We had to take time off work, and we had to make this trip based on the rosters alone. And then you get out here and you see what's happening right now. Even the turnout last night, for opening night, only 5 games going on. Usually that's kind of an off night.
Packed to the rafters.
Yeah, rink is lined with people. They're turning the bleachers around from the opposite side to be able to see this side.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely amazing.
Well, I think you see that too with the teams that have made that same journey. I mean, not only the LA Barons, who are making, you know, we're not allowed to complain about any kind of drive with those guys here, but you know, as they're releasing this team, and they've been periodically doing that throughout the year as people are committing, I think people see like, wow, everybody is joining in on this.
They're all
Montreal Red Light then throws their hat in the ring and says, all right, if all the big boys are getting together, we got to do it.
Well, how much of the story is that, right? You talk about, we look at the talent, we say, heck yeah, we got to be a part of this. You know, I'm coming out from Idaho, so it's like, but the Red Light said, yeah, we got to be a part of this.
We're bringing the boys back together. The old teams joining forces, so that in itself is huge for the sport of ball hockey in the sense that Red Light, obviously 15-time national champions in Canada, have taken years off from the 5-on-5 game. They focus on 3-on-3.
Which is really big up there.
Yeah, which is really 3-on-3 is taken over Quebec. It's not that they took time off, it's more out of necessity. But they're right now, we're getting the squad back together. We're playing 5-on-5, and we're going to Pittsburgh for the club championships.
And they're out for blood, and they look good.
They do.
Well, so let's talk about that. You said 5 games last night, Friday, opening things up, but really, there was the one game. Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it.
Yeah, so it all started when we did the sort of live, you know, choose your own destiny lottery picks there to see who would play who. And like I was saying, all the names were pretty much out of the hat except for the Gods and the Godfathers, which were the 2 teams that met each other in the championship just a few weeks before that. And so, you know, anything could happen, and we're basically drum rolling it, and Montreal pulls out the Gods, and I just looked at you and I was like, wait, so they have to play each other now?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, everybody, like, my hope was that there would be some round robin happening. The thought from everybody was that they would see each other on Sunday for sure. But now, them matching up night 1, that changes the dynamic of Sunday for sure. So it's going to be real interesting to see. And in that game, the Gods actually pulled that out, 5-3.
Yeah.
Well, so talk about that. Montreal is a storied franchise.
Yeah.
Alex Burrows coming back to play. He was voted in 2006 as Canada's best ball hockey player of all time, a champion at every level, a former NHL player. And they come out and they kind of have to bring it back together, and the Gods light them up real early on.
Well, there's certainly an adjustment that you have to make going from 3s to 5s. I mean, we play a lot of 3s where we're from, so I think the dealing with the neutral zone and just the way that you're even structuring power plays and things like that, I think maybe was an adjustment. But I also think that when the Pittsburgh Gods, rather than having to meet them on a Sunday in a championship where they have to adjust on the fly to them, I think they had the opportunity to prepare, watch some game tape. Okay, this is their style, this is what we want to do, and they came out, got after it.
They came out and attacked. Came up 2-0 early. But what you saw immediately following that was Red Light remembering that, hey guys, we've all played together. They remembered their defensive pairings. They remembered how they're going to cycle, how their breakouts work. And at the end of the first period, they started to play tight and tough, and actually came back and then tied that game up. And it went back and forth throughout the second and third periods.
Well, and what I saw from them a lot too is, like you said, running the cycle where they're running all 5 guys through and on the cycle and causing chaos, and they're whipping everything at the net.
Yeah,
everything.
Shot score, which is more of a 3-on-3 style.
Yeah.
3-on-3 is shoot everything, and that 5-on-5 is more of a patience.
Yep.
Wait for the right shot kind of game. So they brought their 3-on-3 mentality, and you saw that on the penalty kill.
Yep.
And adjusted to but played that 5-on-5 game. And we've seen that in a couple of games here where their penalty kill is they're more Spider-Man on the ground, taking away lanes and zones and not necessarily playing guys.
Yeah.
But they're more creating chaos and forcing the play to the outside.
But I think that's a lot for some of these teams to deal with that are used to maybe more of a, I don't want to say relaxed, but a methodic. And it's not as much, and they're causing tons of chaos, and they're used to just banging away and adjusting and running around with each other there. And I think that as we've seen their chemistry get better and better, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So if they do meet up with the gods again, I'm calling that one a coin flip again. I'm not giving it to the gods just because they pulled out game one.
No, absolutely not. And I think there's a takeaway for every other team that if you want to be successful against Montreal, you're going to have to figure out how to play that power play because they're not going to change their penalty kill style.
Absolutely. Well, and then it was tied up at one point, and I thought, okay, both teams are going to take their foot off the gas, and they're going to see who wins it in a shootout.
They're going to lock that D zone,
and
that's exactly not what happened.
Immediately, the gods on the face-off, and
just went down and just dangled around, scored. It was less than 10 seconds.
Right away, took all the wind out of their sails there, and then ended up Montreal pulling the goalie in the end, and then chipping in an empty netter, so that the 5-3 score was maybe not
indicative of how that game ended.
Well, and the one thing that I think Montreal is going to have to figure out is that neutral zone play. And I've seen that with a couple of teams that have maybe been offensively challenged. It's that wall that gets created artificially on the blue line until you can break the zone and create that buffer. The teams that are able to make that quick penetration rather than getting stuck on the line, that's what's going to open up the scoring. So I think as we move into the Sunday play, that's what's going to be able to open things up. The team that can successfully generate there.
If they can get through that lock that they're putting down on the blue line and get to that offensive zone, regain possession, maintain possession, and get a cycle going, that's where the success is going to come from.
And obviously this is a huge storyline, one of the bigger storylines, but it's certainly not the only one when we have so many good teams competing here. You do have to kind of feel a little bad for the Flyers and the Graphics, though, because both the Gods and the Red Light came out today and issued basically the only real thumpings that we've seen so far.
That's true.
Outside of those two games, what do you think has been the tone of Saturday?
We should push back on that, though, because the Graphics, so they're doing period points in this tournament.
That's true.
So every single period counts. If you get blown out 5-0 in the first, it's 0-0 starting in the second. So what we saw is the Graphics played the full 30, and they kept their heads. They didn't take dumb penalties, anything like that. They ended up tying that last period. So we saw even Montreal pull their goalie to try to get that extra period point. It didn't work.
Yeah. No,
so anything can happen.
Exactly. It's not necessarily a blowout. I think, honestly, the Flyers are a way better team than they played this morning.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's going to realize that.
Well, and that game got a little emotional, too.
It did.
We did. We saw some fisticuffs there with the Gods, and I was actually kind of shocked to see the Gods lose their tempers. I mean, we haven't seen any major penalties so far other than that game. So we even had some 3-on-3 on the big rink there for a little bit. That was
transcending the game. And
that was a taste of home for the Montreal guys.
But I mean, the overall storyline of this tournament to date has been tight games. We talked last night in the recap. We had our first shootout, and how many have we had today? I think we went 3 games in a row.
6. A couple more.
Yeah.
I mean, how about that Savages Americans game?
Yeah. Well,
with the last second goal.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because then it was LA Barons and someone else on the other rink. I know that you were watching the kid who we're interviewing. He was playing in net. And so I thought this one was probably going to a shootout. The shootout on the other rink was about to start. So I hop over to go and watch the shootout start. I hear people going crazy. Sounded like that, kind of. And I run back over. I see 0.5 left on the clock. And I'm like, they chipped in a buzzer beater? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Well, and that's been every game. It's been tight, 1-goal games, like back and forth. Like nobody's letting anybody get away with anything.
Exactly.
And we talked a little bit about kind of, I'm going to call it a line brawl because it was a line brawl in the Flyers and Gods game.
Yeah.
That level of intensity, everybody's playing for each other. Like the physicality is high. We talked last night about board play and like the level of effort they're putting forth there.
Yeah.
That's transitioning to the front of the net. That's guys standing up for their teammates. Everybody's here to win. Nobody's here.
Well, and we had mentioned it earlier. You're seeing a lot of big name players, the Alex Burrows, Subban. What's the third?
Danik Martel.
Yes, Martel as well. And the mentality that those guys are taking into this, they're not seeing it as though it's a weekend away or anything like that because they've got bigger and better things. they miss a pass, they miss a route, they miss a shot, they're slamming their stick and they're busting butt back because
Subban did it.
They care about every shift just like they would if it was an NHL playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, Subban 2 weeks ago was playing in the NHL playoffs, and he's playing with that same level of emotion and intensity here as he was with the Golden Knights.
Well, he had a big goal last night as well.
He did. He had that power play goal, the game-winning goal.
Backdoor finish.
That was a beauty.
Goalies can score, baby.
You talk about these NHL players. We've also got Team USA represented big time.
Yeah.
Watching Ruiz with the Warriors, the hands on this guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Ruiz is good.
He can fight too.
Understand.
Well, and you even said, so we were doing an interview with him, and you were like, oh, he's a lot big. He's actually not that big of a guy. He's just super tough and really fast. So, he battling through and keeping possession under sometimes double coverage. He's a tough one to stop. And the snipe in the shootout was incredible.
No, it's almost like, it was more like a Patrick Kane style move. Came in fast, slammed on the brakes, and just sat there and waited. Just dangle, got him. Took it.
That was sweet.
It was pretty.
So looking forward, pretty much immediately after the break, the first game coming out of it is Rebels Saints. How do you guys break down this matchup?
Oh, well, I'll say the Saints have traditionally been a very strong team. Strong, and I mean physical.
They've got another notch, I think, and I think they're going to find it.
Yeah.
Just like you said, bringing the physicality, I think, is
that can
going
wear
to
you down as the days go, too. And the Saints traditionally are a very physical team. They're not going to shy away from the body. They're not going to shy away from the tough places. And if you do go there with them, if you come out with that ball, you're going to earn it.
Well, I might actually give the edge to the Rebels just based on what I've seen.
Well, the Rebels they're a physical team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they're more of a speed breakout team.
Exactly. So
legs.
It's a matter of trying to contain them and maybe catch them if they get overextended, I think, is where they might be able to generate offense from that physical defensive style. So I don't know. I might give them the edge on that one just based on what I've seen, but every game so far has been a coin flip.
It's back and forth. Yeah, some of these games, they're too close to call. In the matchups and how they're playing and how they're elevating their game and coming prepared to play, you can't make a call on these right now. It's just way too close.
That was exactly what I thought when I walked in and saw the Warriors manage to take that game from the War Pigs.
Exactly.
We've got 12 teams in the A division here, all of which are ranked in the top 25 by ballhockey.com.
Exactly.
7 of them are in the top 10. But you have a matchup that's number 24 Warriors going up against number 5 War Pigs, and the Warriors pull it out.
Yeah.
So how much parity is there here? Like, how much of a chance do the Warriors or do the Graphics or do the Savage
The Warriors are studs. The Warriors are a new franchise, so they don't have the pedigree that some of these more established teams have.
Lower ranking.
And I want to say that they have been playing to their competition a little bit. I think they've got another notch.
Mm-hmm.
I think we started to see shades of that, so I was glad to see them pull out the win there. But they've got the legs, they've got the speed, and they've got massive amounts of talent. And the second it starts shining through, I could see them in the finals.
They have 5 guys representing USA.
Exactly. I mean, and they've got even the youth program bringing it up. So
Absolutely.
I think that you'll see their ranking as the years progress and they sort of get more established.
Yep, absolutely.
You're going to see them climb.
I can see them as a top 10 team in the very near future.
And we've gotten this far into our coverage, and we've barely even mentioned the Godfathers, who took the Gods to the final in North Americans.
Yeah.
What do you see them doing in this tournament?
I see the Godfathers playing Godfathers hockey.
Yeah.
They are themselves, right? They come in, they're loud, they've got their disco ball, they have
an identity.
They take over.
Have fun, and they're playing their style of hockey. Like that, they're doing what they do. And it's going to take somebody to disrupt that, to disrupt them.
Exactly. Well, and we've seen them not only play a good lockdown and between the pipes, I don't know their goalie's name offhand, but he's showing up pretty darn big.
Well,
and I think that's going to be a huge factor for them. I mean, we give the Gods a lot of credit for what's going on between the pipes there, but the goaltending for the Godfathers has been incredible too.
They're a big team. They are a large, they're all big, over 6 foot, pushing 200 pounds. They're hard to play against.
Well, we saw them go to OT with the Gods. So as much as we want to tout the Gods and all of their trophy victories and the red, taking down the red light there early on, they took the Gods to overtime. So 1 or 2 bounces and you can flip the script on that.
Exactly.
So they're capable of just about anything.
So as we look to the second half of today, and then of course going into playoffs tomorrow, there's so many big names that jump right off the page at you. Who are some dark horses, either teams or players, that you think we should be keeping our eyes on as we get closer and closer to the playoffs on Sunday?
I think that's a tough question, but it ties into what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's so much parity.
Exactly. I don't know if there are dark horses. I think teams that may have taken a tough loss earlier today it's puck luck, bounces.
Yeah.
They had a few things not go their way. I don't think there's a dark horse. I think they're all right there, all capable, if not winning, of having that upset against one of the big names.
Well, and I'm actually kind of shocked that we haven't seen, at least to my knowledge, any injuries.
Yeah.
Because we've seen those in past tournaments where some guys, have to make an early leave just based on some sort of injury or whatever, and that can shake up a team really well. And as far as I know, everybody's still running at full capacity right now, and it's been absolutely brutal out there.
You've got some guys with some zips that had to leave and go get
might be
up,
a good time to shout out to the officials.
Absolutely.
Because not only are they pulling people apart, breaking up fights, but they're doing a good job of maintaining that balance between physical animosity and that gritty hockey that everyone likes, and
keeping it under control.
Yes, exactly.
Keeping players safe.
Yes, and it so far, based on injury report, there we go.
They're doing a great job.
Underappreciated. They're chirping you and you don't deserve it. Yeoman's work from those guys.
So obviously you've got things like what group you end up in. You have things like injuries that come up. You have things like officiating. What other sorts of X factors do players have to worry about here with the tournament structure and even with the weather? I know you guys were talking about that a little bit with the humidity.
I think that's a huge factor right now because we're sitting here and it's hot. We're not going to lie.
It's humid.
We started this morning. It was super cool. We're all wearing hoodies. Like, it was nice and comfortable, mid-50s. Now it's pushing it. And it's starting to get humid. The rink's starting to have that little slick spots in it. So that's going to influence how these games go until it starts to cool off later tonight.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how the humidity, because we saw it last night get a little bit slippery. But what I think is going to be the most interesting and kind of that X factor is the sort of relegation, the crossover between the A and the B to see who, where everybody's going to line up with what pool. So there's going to be overlap there. And I think those games are going to be awesome. That's going to be like a championship playoff within a playoff. It's going to be awesome.
And if we're going to see a dark horse, I think it's going to come from the B pool. Admittedly, since we're camped out over here on this rink, which is all the A games, we haven't had a lot of exposure to them. So I can't really speak to specifics, but there's some teams in there that can play.
Well, we said the graphics. I mean, being able to take a period away from Montreal, but then
Rhode Island Rage and the North Americans had some huge upsets. So again, I don't want to name names because I haven't had that level of exposure just based on locale, but there could be some upsets.
But that's where you're going to see. That's where you're going to see the guys that, in my personal opinion, I would rather go in with the mentality that we want to be in the A pool. We want to take everything. I don't care if we play the Gods. I don't care if we play Godfathers, Montreal Red Light, whoever we play. I would rather lose to the best than be the winner of the B pool. And I feel like that's the mentality that I've seen across the board this weekend. So that's going to be people fighting for their lives and their reputations.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely something I've noticed just in terms of the energy coming off of that B ring. Those guys are really invested. And they want to make it to the big show and prove that they belong there.
No, they're excited. They're animated. And I mean, they're coming off after wins and celebrating. They're in it. They're playing.
And the flip side of that is the guys that lose the games when they come off, that's where you know how much you care. Because everybody likes winning, but it's how much do you hate losing? And we've seen some serious temper tantrums, boys, but we love the passion.
The passion and emotion come through. So I think if we're going to have a dark horse, it's going to come from what happens on the B side.
And they could ride the hot hand. Like maybe you get a big victory in that crossover play, and then you, bang, upset, shake up the whole tournament.
Absolutely.
And you never know when you get a hot goalie that can just steal a game.
Well, we had Declan Matif playing for the LA Barons. I watched about 5 minutes of that game. He's going to play for Team USA on 3-3 in Montreal in June, and that kid was playing.
I didn't realize how young he was until we had him up here with us. I was like, wow, they got a pretty darn good goalie between the pipes here, and then I come to find out he's like 16, 17 years old. I'm like, holy cow, buddy.
Yeah, that kid played well, so we can see the Barons. I mean, they're on upset watch at the North Americans.
Yeah, well, I think you guys really hit on it kind of at the beginning here. The atmosphere exudes passion, it exudes energy. there's something in the air about this event that people are getting up for it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we saw so many top teams coming is because this is actually it's a USA Ball Hockey Slovakia fundraiser. It's a charity event.
Yep.
It's a scholarship event.
Well, we got the kids in the background right now doing their clinic with Team USA. Or
Yeah.
We did anyway. I guess we've been here for a little bit, but they did have a clinic running with the little kids and the guys from Team USA, running them through some cones and doing the youth development stuff. So, I mean, there's something for everybody. And the vendors outside, everything's been awesome.
And it's a grow the game initiative that I think everybody's buying into
Yeah.
or have bought into, and they're all coming to support.
Well, and it's not as localized as it has been. Now it's starting to different communities coming together and working between each other, and that's what is going to take USA hockey at least to the next level.
Absolutely.
I think so, and frankly, I can't wait to get back to the action. I'm really excited about Sunday. I think you're right. In many ways, a lot of these matchups are coin flips because there's so much parity, and because there's so much on the line, you are seeing the quote-unquote lower-seeded teams really bring their game and really step up and show them that they belong here, which is legitimately the pinnacle of North American talent.
Yeah, and no matter how good you are on paper, everyone makes a mistake. And no matter no matter what your stats are on the stat sheet, anyone's capable of capitalizing on someone else's mistakes. So, it's been a game of inches so far, and it's just a matter of who's taking it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. For Eric Mock and Ryan Shackelford of the Deck Hockey Focus, I've been Chris Blair with Memory Video Productions. Don't go anywhere because we're going to be with this tournament live the whole way and expect for us to check back in as these stories continue to develop. Any last words, boys?
Hey, we appreciate everything you guys are doing. We love it.
Yeah,
All
appreciate
right.
it and excited for the rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned because we've got more great action coming up. Like I said, following this, we have the Rebels and the Saints. That's it for me. Back to you guys.